extraordinaire, the gemologist.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Geomologist Presents. You have me, the geomologist, Carl, and my lovely wife, Amy.
Hello.
And we are here coming back from San Marcos from Chupacabracon X. We've stopped at a local watering hole, drink local always, I think. And we're at Guadalupe Brewing Company having a few beers to decompress after an awesome weekend of gaming. And at Chupacabracon, well, it was very cool. I'm going to give an overview. Amy's going to chime in here and there. Hopefully she will talk more than me, but I don't know how this thing goes. You know how wordy I can be. You might hear music in the background and there's people and stuff, and we'll see how it goes.
I have a beer in my hand. I might talk a lot.
Yeah, we do have beers in our hands. I am drinking a Poblano Stout, and Amy's drinking
the Sunshine.
It's a Sunshine Highway Saison. So different styles, but good nonetheless. Guadalupe is an awesome place. And if you're in the New Braunfels, Texas area, check it out. So for one, Chupacabracon was at a different location. Usually it's been at the Wingate at Wyndham in Round Rock, and they changed locations to the Embassy Suites in San Marcos. And honestly, I enjoyed it. I liked the location, more space, a more posh location. Closer to all these breweries. So
and players.
Yep. So what do you think, Amy?
I loved it. I mean, the location is just right off of 35, ample parking.
Yes, parking is huge.
Very cold air conditioning.
Yes, we had air conditioning.
In Texas, very necessary.
Yeah, even here in May, it's very necessary in South Texas to have good air conditioning. And I thought I feel like in a couple of years past, I don't know what the relationship was before at Chupacabracon, but I feel like in the last couple times that the venue, they really didn't want us there, and I feel like this place, the Embassy Suites, really enjoyed us being there with all our nerdiness and geekiness.
Oh yes, they'd ask us all kind of questions, and they gave us happy hour.
Right.
Free.
Right. So that was a nice perk as well. So we played various games. We played in 6 different games.
But all together. Yes,
and that was a curious thing. We haven't played. We've gone to conventions before, but we played in some games together, but not all the games. And so the games that we played, I'll give a brief overview, and then we're gonna tackle them, day by day. So the first game we played was Friday afternoon. Savage Worlds Freedom Squadron Boot Camp Bayou Blues, and it was run by a friend of ours, which I thought was really awesome.
I think he's also one of the designers.
Yeah, he was actually one of the designers of the Freedom Squadron 2nd edition for Savage World, the Suede edition, the latest edition. So it's pretty cool that we got to play in a game of their design, that they designed. So the next game we played was...
I want to tell him it was Sean Burchard.
Yep. Yeah, it's Sean Burchard who ran the game. Sometimes we name drop here if we remember. All right, the second game that we played was also, I guess, the cool thing, Amy, remind me, what?
It was the test game, so we can't give too much away.
Right, so, in fact, we played 4 out of the 6 games. 4 out of the 6 games we played were actually test games. So the second game we played was also like a test of a potentially upcoming, maybe multi-game, multi-era spanning Call of Cthulhu game. We played Call of Cthulhu, the Conqueror Worm, taking place in the Roman times in Invictus.
It was a really fun setting, and we got to play in the secret room.
Right. We actually, it was also by, I guess, a VIP, and we got to play in the green room, so which is kind of nice.
But we weren't on the television screen.
No, we weren't on the television screen. So that was Friday day and night. On Saturday, we played in the early day, in the morning, and in the afternoon games that I ran.
Yes.
And I ran the Curse of Caledon, which was a plate which was using or inspired by the Reaver Quick Start, so Adventures from the Reaver Quick Start by Joe Salvador of Brave and God Games. And then in the afternoon, I ran a Call of Cthulhu scenario called The Night Mother's Moon by Stygian Fox. And that was it was a very unique setup in that you play homeless individuals in New York City.
That was a lot of fun, but more to come later.
Right. Yeah, we're just going to give an overview now and then have a pause and then go kind of day by day and give our insight and overview and probably come with a conclusion. Anyway, on Saturday night, we got to play a kind of a neat and unique game that we were very excited for, and we're really kind of chomping at the bit to sign up, and fortunately we got in. And this was run by Robin Tate Bircher, who also helped design Freedom Squadron, but she ran a game of her own design called Savage World Pirates: A Star Wars Adventure, and it was her own Star Wars hack, although she used elements from an upcoming game called Saints and Sinners for certain aspects of the game. But it was her own creation and a one-shot just for the convention.
But using Savage World rules.
Yes, so Savage World's rules in the Star Wars verse. We got to play very unique characters from the TV shows and
Roger.
animated. That's a different. Oh yeah, that is Clone Wars. So we got to play from animated series and live action Star Wars series characters. And then the last game we played was Sunday morning, and it was a game. So at a convention, one should always play a game system that you've never played before. And while Amy did that a couple times, playing Reaver and this game, I only did this once, and we got to play in a game of pirate board called The Curse of Skeleton Point. And the GM actually is very cool because he runs like a GM group that runs various games at conventions. His name is Eric. I'll probably put the information in the show notes, but he is definitely they're based out of Dallas, but they are looking for GM groups to run games in different locations. So I'll put that information in the show notes so you can contact that organization and see if you and your group or your group of GMs in your city would want to do that. Okay, we're going to take a pause, have a sip of our drink, and come back and talk about Friday night games. Okay, we're back, and the first game we played on Friday was the Freedom Squadron Bayou Bash recruitment type of scenario for Savage World edition of Freedom Squadron. So this is the second edition of this game, Freedom Squadron, and it is written by Sean Tate Bircher, Robin English Bircher, Aaron Burkett, Scott Crossan, Bill Keys, and Ted Pick Jr. It is published by Mobius Publishing and Spyglass Games for Savage Worlds, and so we were kind of recruits for G.I. Joe. It is more not G.I. Joe. Sorry. So it is G.I. Joe with the serial numbers filed off the game system. But you know that if you read through the introduction, it's not just about G.I. Joe, though there are very much touchstones suggesting G.I. Joe and that kind of organization. I mean, there's also inspiration taken from other types of genres and movies and games of that military and investigative spy type of action thriller. And I thought it was a really fun game. I played like a shoot 'em, like a heavy weapon specialist. If you can imagine, the character I played and came up with concept was Vasquez from Aliens, although not in Aliens or not in a sci-fi world, but here on Earth in 2051, so sort of sci-fi. And Amy played.
I played a medic, but here's the fun thing: this is my second time playing, but your first playing Freedom Squadron.
Right.
And each time I've played it, it's been a completely different scenario.
Right.
But equally as much fun.
Yeah, so I'm not going to spoil like what happened in the game. We're just going to give like an overview because I believe Sean is kind of developing adventures for Freedom Squadron. There's both a GM and a player's manual out now. They just finished a Kickstarter, and I guess they're developing adventure books for it. And this was the recruit adventure. So you're not part of the organization Freedom Squadron. And at the end of it, you earn your wings, you get your stripes, you get to pick your code name. And I thought it was very exciting because it was a combination of of sort of fighting and skill challenges. I like the investigation. I really enjoy the plans and operations tree or setup pyramid that Sean has developed for the game. So I think it's going to be a pretty exciting addition to Suede. We had a good time, a great group of players. Sean's a very generous Savage Worlds GM. Benny's fly like popcorn.
I didn't even have to call in for the Bennies.
Right. Benny's fly like popcorn. So I really had a great time with this game. It was a really good start to a fun weekend. What do you think, Amy?
I had a great time. And we got our badge for our name tag, too.
Yeah, we did.
Proudly wear the rest of the convention.
We did get Freedom Squadron tags because of that. And I enjoyed the game so much, I did buy the Players and GM's Manual.
Oh, absolutely. And all I have to say is for World War III in 2051, I'm not looking forward to it at all. But I now know what I need to do.
Yeah, I guess Amy's pretty scary and cryptic, so try not to take her to any parties when she's been drinking, I guess.
No, just don't let me wear the lipstick.
Oh, yeah, we're not going to talk about that.
I know, I'm not talking about that.
Okay, so that was Freedom Squadron. It's a really fun game. The second game we played was later in the evening, and that was nominally a Call of Cthulhu Invictus game, but truth be told, it felt more like a Dreamlands game. Again, it's
I think they were trying to merge the two.
Yeah, potentially. Again, it's a playtest by the author who doesn't want their names revealed. It's a super secret project, but it looks like it's going to be one of these games which Chaosium and Call of Cthulhu have done before, like in their Strange Aeons project, where they jump from era to era, but this is going to be linked. And the GM was really cool. I really enjoyed the background and the description and the setup for the game.
Oh, it was fun, and they kept it mysterious. He came to the table, we were going to get ready to set up, and then we were whisked off to the green room.
Right.
In the VIP room, and there was no one else around. The door was closed, just setting up that whole scene.
Right, so the game, there were pre-gens, and we got to choose them and all that kind of stuff. But I guess I know, while I feel like the background and the story flow is there, the way that the characters are going to be incorporated into the story is still in playtest, and that's what you go to these conventions for sometimes, and I think that's okay. I feel like at this moment the player characters really didn't, even if they weren't there, events would have happened. So I think that they need to be incorporated into the story better. And as giving feedback to the GM, he understood that and is going to continue to work on it, which I think is going to be a fantastic product when it eventually comes out.
You know what my favorite part of that game was? He included music.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome.
It was really awesome. I thought that was great.
Right, so maybe he'll at least, I don't know if it was original music, I'm not sure, but if it's Muzak or crowdsourced kind of music, then hopefully they'll incorporate it into the scenario and give like music prompts as well. It's always fun to have visual and audio, touchstones for when you enter a scene or something happens. So I think it's going to be like a multimedia type of experience when it's all said and done. And it was fun to be there, kind of here at the beginning of this game.
I had a great time.
Right. So. Okay, time for another drink because I'm parched suddenly.
We gotta run to happy hour.
Right.
Quick, let's go.
All right, we're running to happy hour, and we'll be back with some more. Next up is Saturday. Okay, Saturday was a long day. We started very early. Fortunately, the embassy has free breakfast, and it was actually a pretty good free breakfast. Custom omelets, pancakes,
that omelet
eggs.
Was the size of the plate.
Yeah, Amy and I had to split the omelet. Right, so we started at 9 a.m., and at 9 a.m. I ran the Curse of Caledon, a adventure game, convention game inspired by and using the Reaver rule set in development by and out as a quick start from Joe Salvador of Raven God Games. So I took there was kind of an adventure setup, kind of a hex crawl adventure type in the back of the quick start book, and I took excerpts out of it to try to make it coherent convention style story that could fit in a 4-hour block. And I think it went really well. Definitely, again, it's a playtest. I'm not going to try to spoil things, but I feel like the player characters, took the prompts, did really neat things. I feel like they got the system. A lot of players commented to me, but Amy will either agree or disagree, but commented to me that they like the player-facing mechanism of the Reaver system. They enjoyed the sword and sorcery setting. The player character, all the player characters were different, had their own niche, and had really cool things that they could do. And everyone during the gameplay was very engaged, and not just asking questions about a system that was like not so familiar to them. So overall, I felt like the playtest went really well, and the game was really enjoyable. We had players playing a fighter, a barbarian, a priest, and a rogue type, a thief. It was actually a barber, right? So,
he said he was a barber, right. But I think he was a thief.
Sure, and there's more details. And honestly, if you go to Drive-Thru, you can find the Reaver Quick Start through Raven God. It's put in Raven God Games or Reaver Quick Start, and it's there on Drive-Thru RPG as for pay what you want. You can also get a print version, for a price as well. So I know at least one player went to the website and ordered the book. So I hope more players did, and I felt there was a lot of interaction, and people enjoyed it and got the scenario or the way I set things up. So sure, there's definitely rules that need to be clarified and tweaked, but that's what playtests are for. So how do you think it went, Amy?
I liked it. I thought I had a lot of fun. I do enjoy that game as a group. And so I don't know that I would enjoy it as much as a one-shot, like as one player.
Okay. So you mean like you'd prefer it as a campaign as opposed to like a one-shot?
Well, not just that. I mean, a one-shot's okay, but I think in order to really live in the verse the way I should, I think it needs to be a longer game. So if we were going to do a one-shot in the future, I think it needs to have a very distinct beginning, middle, and end. Yeah. But it was very enjoyable.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I started the players in medias res, so like in the thick of the action. I didn't know how long it would take, and maybe in the future, I'm going to run this again at North Texas RPG Con, but in the future, maybe I'll just start, from the beginning and see how it goes. But then I don't think we would finish. So maybe the in medias res is great for a con game. But I think it would be great if you kind of ran the adventure sort of as a mini campaign, and then you could get definitely more out of it. But as a con game, to get the flavor of the system and the feel for the characters, I felt like as third level characters in the system, they were pretty heroic. They really mopped up the opposition. They had it was a great challenge and tough with some of the boss type monsters or encounters. And I don't know. I felt also the mechanics did not get in the way of the interaction between players either. And I think players really, for the first time playing this game, connected. And I think that's very important, that the game system never gets in the way or feels too mechanical or choppy.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And I will say this much, I'm still not letting the barber give me a haircut.
Give you her what?
The barber give me a haircut.
Right. Oh yeah. The rogue was very effective in this game, which is I think a good thing.
He's a backstabber.
Right. So it's nice. So it was a very enjoyable game. I'm definitely going to give some feedback to Joe about how things went. I think there definitely could be some tweaks based on the feedback, but that's for another podcast. Maybe I can get Joe on here again one of these days at some point and talk about that, discuss that. But it's going to be a Kickstarter sometime during the summer. But Joe's just finished a Kickstarter with Denizens of the Demimonde, and it's going to be the next project for him. We as a group in the campaign play, I've been playing for over a year now in his home game. So in the playtest game, so it's been very enjoyable. And I know, and that's the goal of the playtest really is to, yes, I know all the nuances and little things that we do at the table in our home game, but how does it translate rules as written to a table? So, so I guess Amy can maybe comment a bit on how that went.
It went fine. I mean, there's some things to tweak, like you were stating. I mean, I would say this much. It'd be best if you at least have one magic user.
Yeah, one magic using type is helpful.
One magic user. I definitely think you need a stabby. So,
yeah, like a rogue is great.
Or a rogue. I mean, we had a barbarian and a fighter. I don't know that we necessarily needed both, but the interplay was kind of fun.
Yeah.
Because then it became a challenge between the two of them.
Right.
To get the big bad.
Right. So again, right. So then the players could, I think, get into the world and the verse and role play. So the rules didn't get in the way. I think that's the bottom line. Is even the rules with a few tweaks and here, even though there are maybe a few tweaks here and there, the rules, generally speaking, did not get in the way of a fun time and a great role-playing experience.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I agree.
All right, we're going to go move on to the next game. And that I ran another game in the afternoon called The Night Mother's Moon. It's a Call of Cthulhu 7th edition modern game by Stygian Fox. I'll put a link in the show notes for it. And what attracted me to the game was that it was a unique setup for the player characters in that they were homeless in New York City in the early fall. Well, maybe not early fall. Kind of
October.
in kind of mid-October. So I enjoyed it, and it was a really fab of mine. I honestly, I was a little nervous to do Reaver since I'd never run it before. But Call of Cthulhu is kind of like riding a bike for me, and what I enjoyed is a hell of a lot of role playing. The characters did crazy stuff. I love it when I love it in a scenario where you have like the scenario is written in a certain way and there's a certain timeline, but the characters break that timeline and go off the rails. It's always enjoyable to me to let the characters come up with crazy ideas, and hey, they still got to roll a dice here and there to see if their crazy idea pays off or comes through, and it did. I think the risks paid off, and it was well rewarded. I had 3 players in this game, and
one was a repeat from Friday's game.
Right. So one of the players we played in the Call of Cthulhu game the night before, and came to my game, and I thought it was great. It was very satisfying. In contrast to the playtest Invictus game, this well-developed scenario that has been published got the characters into the action. The characters' actions were meaningful and made a difference. And I was surprised because there was, at the end, especially in the finale, there are a lot of power rolls and sanity checks. You know how it goes in Call of Cthulhu, and the characters came through and they went above and beyond. So I thought it was a very satisfying scenario. And afterwards, we hung out with some of the players from that game for a beer. So I thought that was, I think, a good testament to that the players enjoyed themselves and they wanted to hang out socially. That's always a good feeling for me as a GM. So.
Oh, absolutely. I loved it. I mean, I personally played the homeless girl that was in the military, but then just couldn't keep a job because of things that she saw in Afghanistan. And she was a demolition expert. I had some really crazy skills that I don't think a homeless person necessarily could ever use. But my credit rating at 2%, I was not going to go in and get anybody. But I had an extremely high intimidation. I couldn't persuade anybody, but I certainly could fire a gun at them. And I used that to my advantage. And the young lady that was also playing with us, she was playing a character that was a male, Danny, I believe, and he used to be a construction worker.
Right.
And Vu was playing, I believe, a male. I couldn't 100% understand, but I think he either flunked out of college or did some college and might have been writing for a newspaper, I think. I don't know. None of us were really very good at keeping a job, but
Yeah, and that was the whole point. Is that sometimes in a Call of Cthulhu game, where there's a character who's got a lot of money, they just throw their credit rating around and solve things, or they. So this was really like a on the streets investigation as opposed to hiding out in a library and doing research. And I really liked how the characters hit the ground running and solved the puzzle and figured out the scenario. So that was pretty fun. It was a fun game for me to run.
I enjoyed it. Did you want to tell the people a little bit more about what we did?
No, I mean, I'm not gonna. I don't want to tell much about it because that would spoil it because it is a published adventure, right? So again, it's A Night Mother's Moon by Stygian Fox. I'll put a link in the show notes.
All I'll say is never, ever throw your credit card somewhere where someone can get to it.
Right. So definitely a lot of side hustle, and it was good. It was a good. It was good. It was fun. It was really fun. Definitely got characters, players that is thinking outside the box to try to figure things out. All right, on to the next one. So the next game we played was run by.
But wait, there's more.
Yeah, I think there's still more stuff to be talked about the game. I think Stygian Fox and the authors of Night Mother's Moon did a great job of helping the GM to establish lines and veils and really talk about, hey, we're not trying to be disrespectful of the plight and of the homeless, but we're trying to put characters in a unique situation. And I read that to the player characters before the scenario and discussed lines and veils. And if someone was offended or had wanted to pause, then that was totally fine. But I think the players played it very maturely. No one was super silly. It's a serious situation and kind of a very tragic situation that these characters initially found themselves in. So I think it was done very respectfully, in my opinion.
I completely agree. I think the players at the table with me played it as if they were homeless, not just played it as if they were a character. I think they owned the situation and got angry when NPCs or other characters were rude or condescending to the homeless. I think it's a good way for people to spend a day in someone else's shoes.
Yeah, and I think that the scenario really helped with that. Okay, are we ready to move on to the next one?
Roger, Roger.
Yes, so we played Pirates, a Star Wars scenario, and we can spoil a little bit of this. I don't know if we'll do a complete recap. It just depends on what...
I think we should, because it's never going to publication.
Right, it's never going to publication, but I can't remember everything that happened, and we'll probably disagree on what happened. I mean, I did one issue, of course, in these conventions where it's like a open bay is that it's hard to hear sometimes, so we miss things. But anyway, so in the scenario that was set up, it's kind of after Season 3 of The Mandalorian, so the New Republic era, approximately, for you Star Wars nerds, about 9 ABY, 9 or 10 ABY after the Battle of Yavin. So the various characters that were in play were Grogu and the Mandalorian, of course, and then from the live-action Mandalorian, and then really from Rebels. The rest, well, mostly from Rebels. Then the other characters were Hondo. If you remember him, he's a Weequay pirate. Then there's Zeb, who is a it's not Lashal, not Lothal. I don't remember the species that Zeb is.
But he makes an appearance on Mandalorian.
He does make an appearance on Mandalorian. Lestat, he's a Lestat. And then Chopper was also there, and I got to play Chopper, actually. And then the other player character...
I played Omega.
Yes, it's from the Bad Batch. So Amy got to play like a 30-plus-year-old Omega, so a grown-up Omega, which is kind of neat.
Also, spoiler alert, supposed to make an appearance in Ahsoka Season 1.
Yeah, it's apparently Omega's supposed to make an appearance in Season 1 of Ahsoka, but we'll see. Anyway, so we were given a mission off-screen by Hera Syndulla, who is apparently now a general in the New Republic. And the mission was given to Zeb, and we're supposed to recover an asset. And our contact is Hondo, whom Chopper totally does not trust.
Omega loves him, but you never trust him.
But Omega loves everyone.
Omega loves everybody.
And of course, Mando.
But she's a clone.
Right. And well, no, it's just Omega's personality. But Mando and Grogu, they work for the New Republic now and try to take care of the Empire. So opening scene. Go ahead.
Oh.
You're going to say something?
No.
All right. So opening scene was in a cantina, and oddly, even though we're on Navarro, anyway, my own nerdy Star Wars beef. It makes no sense for Imperial stormtroopers to be on Navarro because they got kicked out, and Navarro is part of the New Republic, and Imperials are only like remnants on the Outer Rim at this point, or in the what's the other place called?
But they weren't in full dress. They were. Anyways, they were chasing Hondo. Everybody chases Hondo.
The unknown regions is what I was thinking. The Imperials are from the unknown regions. So anyway, these Imperials illegally on Navarro, so it means they're like targets, came in, and they were kind of, I mean, the player characters from Omega on down were pretty good martial prowess, even including Chopper. Chopper got a guy in. Zeb was amazing. Mando was amazing. Those were the two, to me, the biggest fighters. But Omega kicked some ass too, don't you think?
I think so. They interrupted her beer. She's finally old enough to drink.
Right.
And they interrupted. So, you just have to take one out. But she kind of did it covertly that they didn't know where it was coming from.
Yeah.
And she was trying to get the feel for, she's not certain that she necessarily trusts the Mandalorian. And Grogu, she thinks he's just cute and should have been in bed.
Yeah, but
he's a baby.
Sure. Well, a 53-year-old baby. So anyway, we get the mission. We go on it. This scenario was run, like we mentioned, by Robin English Bircher, and so we did this sort of skill challenge plans and operations that she kind of took from Freedom Squadron game. And it's probably going to appear in Saints and Sinners, which I'll also put a link in the show notes to that. They have a tiny V6 version, and they're working on a Savage Worlds version, another plug for a cool product. We met the creators. Actually, some of the creators of Saints and Sinners played in the scenario with us, which was neat. So anyway, we do this plans and operations, figure out that, yes, indeed, this asset is being held by some of Hondo's old allies, of course. We assault a pirate ship. And I think all the players did pretty kick-ass there.
I think so. I mean, Omega was willing to turn him over.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
because it's Hondo.
It's Hondo. You never trust him.
So while they met the pirates at the airlock, Chopper and Mando go EVA, and we kind of get into the ship another way, which I thought was brilliant, and maybe surprised the GM a little bit, which was in our favor. I think. Oh yeah, totally.
Well, we talked about it before.
Nope, we totally surprised the GM.
But I wanted Chopper to do it from our ship.
Right. Well, anyway, so so Mando and Chopper are kicking ass and taking names. Mostly Mando are kicking ass and taking names, while Chopper tries to infiltrate the ship and figure out what's going on. We find that the asset is on board the ship, and I don't remember the name of the character, but it's Hondo's little Huguenot buddy. Starts with an M, something like that. You got to watch Rebels.
That's a ploy for you to watch Rebels.
Right.
You should anyways before the next...
I'll put the link of Rebels in the... No, I'm just kidding. I can't because it's on Disney+.
Is it signed?
No, is it signed? It's Carl with the K.
Yes, Mom.
All right. Go ahead.
Okay. So anyway, so we get going. We're fighting. The pirates, they had locked onto our ship, and
we're attached to their ship.
And I had offered to let them come over, have some coffee. You know how Omega is.
Very
she wants
nice.
Everybody to come.
Probably
feel
tea,
at
though.
home.
Probably tea. She's Australian.
Well, somewhat.
Or from
but,
New Zealand.
I mean, secretly, she wanted to take the ship while they were on our ship and then turn them in for a bounty. But she wasn't up for killing anybody until...
Yeah, but she kind of kicked some ass. That was a surprise to me, as I guess Robin built Omega pretty good with the little bow thing that she shoots in the show, but also with apparently Hunter's knife, and she kind of took down a pirate with that, took down some with the Hunter's bow. So instead of, we wanted to kind of, at least in Chopper's mind, he wanted to subtly take over the ship, but there was a lot of violence. Eventually Chopper did take over the ship, but then the Imperials arrive, and we could do like a chase scene to kind of flee. But I think was kind of neat is that Robin, the GM, incorporated some of the upcoming rules that are very similar to other space combat games like Traveler and Starfinder, where you just don't roll to pilot and GTFO, but you also other people can do things to aid and to help as well as shoot and run. So I think that's kind of could be a neat incorporation to a Savage Worlds chase mechanic.
Oh yes, and you know Omega, she likes to shoot the guns.
Yes.
So she climbed into the back there, readied her
Into the
action.
Phantom.
Oh, the guns in the Phantom are
Yep.
pretty good, and you know, she just like Kasha likes to push the big button.
Right. So actually, Omega also did really well and actually damaged an Imperial kind of light cruiser, light frigate. I don't know what kind of, but it was
for 28 points.
Yeah, it wasn't quite a Star Destroyer, but she damaged it. Some shenanigans happened, and Hondo, being Hondo, tried to get away. But the funny thing was that the player playing Hondo was totally pulled a Hondo move, and forgot that.
I don't think you could hear that where I was. Yeah.
I forgot that Omega was in the back in the Phantom because it's like a rear gun. Anyway, so he tries to take off, but Omega convinces him not to. We kind of shoot a few times, destroy a TIE fighter. Mando's doing awesome as a pilot, smashing TIE fighters, and then we are able to get out of dodge. We were able to, hit the jump to light speed.
Oh yes, but you know what we did even before that is we had that mechanics where we set up what we wanted to do.
Right. I went over that.
I like that.
Yeah, it's called Plans and Operations.
But the hyperdrives that Chopper got me was one of the ones that we used to get out of there.
I don't know if that's true, but I don't recall that.
That's what Robin said.
Okay. Anyway, we were able to get away from the Imperium. But again, it's like an Imperial remnant. It was odd. It's an Imperial remnant, which probably isn't as strong as I would feel at that time. But who knows? With Thrawn coming back in Ahsoka. Anyway, it was a really fun game. I had a good time playing Chopper.
But you forgot to talk about Grogu with the rats.
I mean, Grogu didn't really do as much as I thought they would, but
that's because it takes so long for Grogu to walk.
Yeah,
he's very
controlled
small.
Controlled some swamp rats or rats that were on the pirate ship. I don't know. Really, Grogu's character mainly kind of aided Mando in this scenario. I don't know, but Grogu did have a lot of powers to try to do, so it was pretty neat. I'd love to see the PDFs of these characters, honestly, and could be fun to run something in a Star Wars hack of Savage Worlds.
That'd be a lot of fun.
All right, so all right, I'm gonna pause here, and then we'll come back for Sunday. Okay, we did play one game on Sunday. Usually we don't play a game on Sunday, but it was just too hard to pass up. It's always cool to play a game you never played, and we played Pirate Borg, and again, Amy and I played. So I really enjoyed the session. I had a good time. Initially, because we rolled our characters random, I was kind of maybe a little disappointed. I rolled like crap, my stats, but ended up being like a zealot, which I thought was pretty neat. Hold on a second. Okay, my character was named Ignacio the Zealot, and he was an ex-thief who smelled bad, talked loudly, but to himself. So that's kind of the overall, and all this is rolled randomly. It's a fun little character generator. I kind of like, I don't know, I can't remember if the original Merkborg does it, but I know we did this in Cyborg and it was really fun. So now Amy's going to talk about her character. And by the way, we switched venues. We are now driving, so this is all Bluetoothy. So hopefully it still sounds good. Okay, Amy.
Alrighty, so I played Chrissy, and Chrissy was a cultist, which for any of you that know us well enough know that Carl and I were once in a cult and no longer. That's how we met, so true story. Carl can take that out later. Anyways, she played a cultist. She was extremely obsessed.
She was a buccaneer with her class.
Yeah, she was a buccaneer, but she was extremely obsessed with doing whatever the task was. And it didn't matter what the task was. That was kind of her thing, and she had a ship in a bottle, which sort of came in handy, for no other reason than the ship needed a name. But she was kind of fun to play. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, so, and the thing is, like, the GM at the table, we made our characters, and he kind of, like, randomly made our story. We ended up here in this place called Coral Town on Black Coral Island, I believe, and we did not have a ship. We'd been deposited. We'd been kicked out of this tavern, but at the same time, one of the characters knew that we could get a job in that tavern. So, yeah, I don't know how much of this is a spoiler because it's all random. Maybe some of the locations might be spoilers, so I'll try to X that out in this recap. Yeah, so we went to go inside the tavern, met our contact.
Yeah, but before you go further, I have to say, when Chrissy rolled for her clothing, she ended up in rags, but got the best helmet anyone could have.
I don't know if it was the best helmet, but it was an old Conquistador Manion like type of helmet, which is interesting. It does have a cool mechanic.
Darn good wearing it.
Yeah, it had a cool mechanic. Also, Amy's character had like some weird, I don't know if it's a defect, but kind of like her hair looked like it was constantly on fire and generated some heat. So she has like a weird characteristic. So anyway, we do end up getting this job, and we're told that we're going to join the ship, and we're going to meet at the ship. But honestly, it turns out that it's all crap, and the person who hired us was just trying. I guess we don't really know for sure, but in Ignacio's mind, this person kind of got us to cause some trouble with a ship of the line that was in dry dock, the Eye of Chaos. And we kind of had a little altercation with some British troops, British Marines.
Well, that's only because I was trying to get people to swap the deck.
Yeah, Amy's character was tasked to recruit people by this person who hired us, and she was very zealous about it, trying to grab some of these lobsterbacks, redcoats, I guess, and get them on board the boat. We figured out what was going on and rescued her from her own, I guess, proselytization. They're about to arrest, the British were about to arrest her, and one of the player characters fired a cannon. He escaped.
Glory, and it was glorious.
Yeah, this guy, character named himself Glory, fired his cannon from the boat, distracting the British soldiers long enough for him to make his escape. He escaped, jumped over the gunnels, ended up landing on another Marine, and took his musket, and we made our escape out into the jungle. Out in the jungle, we found ourselves in again. Well, I noticed at the table that the GM kind of rolled all this randomly, so the story kind of developed in a random fashion as we went, and we found ourselves in a coconut grove.
And there were parrots everywhere. Lots of parrots, and because Chrissy's obsessive about things, she wanted a parrot. She's going to be a pirate. She needs a parrot. So she went up the tree, grabbed a parrot, came down, named him Squawky, and then she had a parrot.
And then she subsequently lost the parrot.
No, I sent the parrot off on recon.
She lost the parrot.
The parrot.
So apparently this grove was quote unquote owned by some old man, and he said, and we told him about our situation. He said, well, I'll tell you what this guy's lair is if you burn down the governor's mansion. It's like, yes. we're like, okay.
That's a task.
Right, so we'll do this.
Chrissy took very seriously.
So we had an idea on how to do this. We had the tools to do it. But as we were going back to Coral Town, we didn't run into, we heard and encountered, or we saw that Davies and his crew were smuggling items out of Coral Town through the jungle. So we said, you know what? We don't need to do this job anymore. We've kind of found out, where this guy who set us up is going. I'm sorry I told you his name. It wasn't that. But anyway, so we followed the guy who hired us and to his lair. We set up an ambush. It went extremely well. We took him out, and then one of the player characters, again Glory, said, now follow me. I'm the captain. He stepped out in front. The rest of us were kind of hiding in ambush and fired.
I was looking for Squawky.
Yep. So actually, Ignacio is the one who took down this patron who tried to trick us. Right. So we by skullduggery, we took over this pirate band. 4 of them stayed, 4 of them left. We were pretty generous. Said like stay and stay with us, and we'll lead you to glory, or you'll be led by glory, or leave and whatever, just go. If you stay, you're gonna die. And one crewman did challenge glory and was run through. So then we found the cove.
There was the rustling in the bushes.
Yeah. Go ahead.
There was wrestling in the bushes.
Right.
And Chrissy was very upset because she had lost Squawky, sorry. And she reached in and she grabbed the rabies-ridden rat, showed it to the party, calmed it down, and replaced the pet that she lost. Because again, she is a pirate. She has to have a pet,
right,
in her opinion.
Yeah, I guess so. Oh, the other thing too is now we took the rags off. We didn't do that. The clothes that this patron didn't need anymore, we gave to Chrissy, and the coat, and I kept the bicorn hat. So yeah, and we took some loot.
And the rat sat in the coat jacket.
And the coat jacket that had the hole in it where this guy got shot.
Very adorable.
So I found an artifact in that. Again, all this randomly rolled, which I thought was kind of cool. Even the cargo that they were smuggling was randomly rolled, which I thought was a neat way to run an adventure. Honestly, I thought it was, why pre-plan it? Just freaking roll it randomly and roll with it. So we found the cove. We recruited some more pirates, and we kind of ended up finishing the job that this patron was going to do. He was going to deliver this cargo to this island with undead on it. But we didn't feel like the need to fight this out of the situation. What do you think, Amy?
Oh, not at all. And I got Squawky back.
Right. When we did fight some the undead form of Davies, the patron who came to us, but he had told us his curse. So one of the players remembered that and permanently destroyed him because of his curse. We also learned that on Black Coral Island, or this island that we're on, that anyone who dies has a strong chance of becoming the undead. So we remember that for next time. We had fought some undead too. We didn't really have trouble with
the Lord and Lady?
No. We didn't have really any trouble with minion types. Even though, so really Ignacio only had 1 hit point, so any hit you would take, you'd be dead.
You only had 1 bullet too.
Yeah. Yep. So it was pretty cool. Oh, the necklace I found was like a necklace of invisibility.
Made up of eyes.
Made up of like these weird eyes. Like these weird glass eyes. Anyway, so we kind of delivered this goods, and I guess we were supposed to fight. The GM said, well, that's designed that you're supposed to fight your way out. But we didn't think that wasn't, why fight when we can just make some money?
I had to give up my rat.
But you got Squawky back.
To get Squawky back, yeah. But I cried about it.
Sure.
I was really attached to Chewie for the whole maybe 45 minutes I had him.
Right. So, I think we kind of won this particular scenario. We have a new patron who's going to tell us what to smuggle or suggest things to smuggle. He'll pay us, so I think that's a good gig. We got a boat out of it. We got a small 2-masted boat out of it. So I thought that was, and it had some other small boats, but yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
It was a fun game. You need a parrot now.
I don't need a parrot.
You need a parrot.
Nope.
Squawky needs a friend.
Well, you can release him and let him go back to his coconut grove.
I just got Squawky back.
We'll just cook him.
No eating. They're always trying to eat my animals.
Yeah, I guess that's the case. So anyway, I thought it was a really fun game. I enjoyed Pirate Borg. I do have it. I'd love to run it. So I wonder if I'd run it. I don't know if I'd run it in that way, but definitely it'd be fun to do like a session, at least a session 0 where you randomly roll the characters. But the character creation was so quick that, you know, that would take like half an hour, 45 minutes, and then you could just run some fun adventure prompted by random rolls in the various tables that are in the book.
I enjoyed it a lot. I think we should roll it up.
All right, cool. Well, yeah, I'll probably give a brief outro, or maybe we could do the outro here. What do you think, Amy? We'll do the outro?
Well, we are heading out.
Yeah, we're heading out, so we'll do the outro. This has been our report live after Chupacabracon X, held in San Marcos, Texas. I really enjoyed the con.
In 2 miles, take exit 166 for I-410 West.
Nice.
That's a homage to you.
That's a homage to you, Jason Hobbs.
Yep.
Right. So if you caught that. So anyway, so that's pretty cool. I enjoyed the con. I got to meet some creatives, which I also always enjoy doing. Made some contacts, which I thought was cool too. So what are your final impressions of the con or any games?
I had a great time. I think this year overall, the other years was a lot more classy, and I don't really know why or what they did different, but our badges were plastic that we could write on with wet dry erase markers, maybe even use them for next year's name badges.
Yeah, we can reuse them.
It was really great, and they had fold out pamphlets and maps, and we've never had that in the past.
True.
And you know what? I'd have to say, Happy Hour did it for me.
Yeah, I mean, we also participated in the auction, and they finally got the. Well, we've had issues with the auction in the past because it was never really written anywhere.
As to when it was.
Right. All right. That you have a silent auction, but then it switches to a live auction with the opening bid in the live auction, the final bid in the silent auction. But we attended the live auction, and I got to win some prizes, some books from Riffs. Amy won some dice, and I won a Savage Worlds product, like a Weird War
mile, take exit 166 for I-410 West.
Weird War of Vietnam. So that I thought that was pretty cool.
Had a great time. So from the roving reporters at Chupacabracon Live, we say.
Well, we say a few more things.
Oh, I was gonna say good night and good rolling.
Oh yeah. Oh, I like that. I don't really have a sign off, but we'll remember that. Good night and good rolling. All right. So this has been the Geomologist Presents. If you want to contact me, you can email me at geomologist@gmail.com. Send me a message. Drop me a voice recording. You can put that voice recording on as a DM in the various Discords. I have a SpeakPipe account that you can leave me a message, or you can try keeping left, but leaving me a message on Spotify for podcasts, with formerly Anchor, the website. The intro and outro music
Continue for 9 miles.
The intro and outro music is by TJ Drennan, and Amy here does the cover clip art. So now we can say
good night and good rolling.
All right.